Grumble, grumble.
Hey everyone, it's the Grumpy Meeple, and I'm coming back at you with some very special coverage. Going to be unboxing the all-in pledge for Chronicles of Drunagor, Age of Darkness, Apocalypse. So, I already owned everything from the first wave of Drunagor, and I've covered the game to some extent on this channel in the past. This is the new hotness, just came in, and so I'm going to be unboxing all this stuff and then hopefully kicking off a new campaign series. It's been a long time since I covered Drunagor. I feel like I've grown a bit as a content creator since then. I'm not shooting this stuff off of a tripod that's sitting next to me getting constantly bumped, so I can kind of get a little bit more field of view and whatnot in my videos. And so and I love the game, so I would love to give it another shot here. All right, so I'm going to start with the Awakenings box, which is massive. It looks to be roughly the same size as the core box. The world desperately needs heroes to face this great evil and protect us from the upcoming Age of Darkness. All right. Comes with a boss mini, 32 monsters, 4 heroes, hero boards, dungeon roll boards, bunch of cards, blah, blah, blah. Let's bust this bad boy open. The battle against the darkness began before the Age of Darkness was established, even if the ones involved were not aware at the time. In this epic expansion for Chronicles of Drunagor, Age of Darkness, take the role of 4 new heroes in a campaign through the free islands of Darren. In this new expansion box, we will find 9 new adventures, new heroes, new dungeon rolls, new classes, new chests and adventure items, new monsters, and a new overlord to be used as random enemies in your adventure across the core game and Chronicles of Drunagor expansions. You will need a copy of the Chronicles of Drunagor Age of Darkness core game to play with this expansion. So it's not a full game. So right off the bat, one thing that I see here that I really like, this is something I actually hammered these guys on in a previous video, and I think they appreciated the feedback, to be honest. I mean, I heard back from them that they did. They're explicitly calling out now how to integrate this expansion into the rest of your game, which is not something that they did, or at least didn't do very well, when they released version 1.5, I think it was, of the original Chronicles of Drunagor, and they sent out the update pack. The thing was really hard to use, and over time, with feedback from people like myself, they got better about that and the documentation around it, but it was a real pain in the ass to integrate when it launched. And so I'm happy to see that they're not only paying attention to that, but that they're really calling out that, hey, we're going to help you get this stuff in. And I see the same sticker on basically all the other boxes that came with this, which are sitting right across from me. So in terms of content, I believe that this was the Kickstarter, like the stretch goal stuff. Content-wise, it's probably like half as much stuff as in the core game. You know, I think the core game had something more like 16 missions. This is junk. We got some cardboard. We got a story record. This is nice. I don't remember this being featured in the core game. Could be wrong. All right, let's see. Okay, so we got the books here. Let's bust these open. Hoping I can increase my unboxing speed here a little bit so that you people aren't having to watch a half-hour-long video just to see what came in this fucking thing. All right, so this is your adventure book, and really it's your everything book. It looks like this has your game components, your rule clarifications, your, I don't remember what they call these, your story, your little story bits basically, and then your missions. All right, diving a little deeper into the adventure book for Awakenings, we can see here again you've got your list of game components, which is always welcome. So we've got the Gorgon Hexers, the Gorgon Ness Witch miniatures. So these were the snake folk Gorgons. We've got the Gremlin Horde. That was the pile of guys that we saw earlier. The Grim Doctors. That was the priest-looking motherfuckers. The Soul Harvester. Very cool. 4 Fel Asteris. 4 Nagian Hunters. 4 Hellspawn Brutes. 4 Night Stalkers. And the 4 Hero Miniatures. And then coming over here, you've got your boards, tokens, which seem to be mostly related to terrain. As we'll see a little bit later here, but just as a preview. Yeah, let's see. You've got your boxes, your chests, your bookshelves, your barrels, your stone fountains, and your stone pillars. And so that means that you basically probably don't use hardly any of these small tokens in the event that you have the terrain pack, which I do have. And then 8 big tokens, and you've got your map tiles and your various cards. So what's new? As the game system is in constant evolution, some features presented in the Age of Darkness campaign and rulebook were updated in order to make the game more intuitive, interactive, and entertaining in this new campaign. So this is interesting. There are a lot of new / updated rules in here. There's over 20 pages of new mechanics and updated mechanics and rules and whatnot. So, you know, they're kind of not sure what the best way to learn this game is going to be at this point, because it feels like, okay, so you would read the Age of Darkness rule book, but some of this stuff is rule clarifications, meaning that it overrides the stuff that you just read in that book. And it's not clear to me why they must have made these changes after they published version 1.5 or 1.1 or whatever it was, because obviously those changes are not captured in the new rulebook, even the new rulebook from the most recent version of the core game, which is fine. So you're going to want to read the core game book, and then if you want to, and they call this out here, if you want to integrate these new rules into the core game, which they're saying it makes the game more intuitive, interactive, and entertaining, so I think you probably would, then you also have to read this and kind of make the necessary changes in your brain. So they call it here. So if you intend to start a new campaign, having already completed the 18 adventures presented in the core box, you may consider these updates. Just from now on, there will be no loss to your previous experience. Otherwise, if you haven't played the Age of Darkness campaign yet, you can read this section and apply these update features to your game from the beginning. So they tell you what you need from the core box and what you don't. So, you know, most of this stuff is kind of self-explanatory. And then they go into, like I said, about 30 pages of rule clarifications on really basic stuff too, like dealing damage to characters. Oh, that's funny. That's a pretty core part of the game. Or like equipment. Followers and cohorts. And then you've got the furniture, which is a new game mechanic. I could have, like, some of this definitely exists in the core game. The chess, at the very least, they even say here, chess miniatures are sold separately and can be found in the expansion Spoils of War. So some of this stuff existed before, but I think the way that you're interacting with them might be different. For example, I don't remember the ability to throw a chest, which they call out here, and which sounds pretty bitchin'. So, and I love terrain in these games. I just wish I was a better painter. I might try again, because painted terrain is so much better than gray terrain, but we'll see. Hero turn, yeah. So there's some important updates here to read through. They misspelled the word shifting here. No big deal. And so on and so forth. And then you get to the campaign structure. So they call out, first of all, let me... Oh, this is really cool. Okay, so one thing they do is they show you how much table space the boards are supposed to take up on a table, which is cool. It's a cool idea. I mean, it's ridiculously kind of underselling how much space this stuff takes up, because also, do they not do it all over the place? And maybe that's a thing that they just do with the kind of first mission there. I don't know. I was gonna say it's kind of cool because they're trying to give you an idea of, you know, how big this game is. But if they don't do it consistently, then it doesn't. It's not quite as cool, and also it only represents the board, which is like literally the smallest part of Drunagor. It's one of the things I like about Drunagor is it, for as huge as the system is, it doesn't actually take up that much space on the table. Like, it's doable on, this is a big table, but even still, I feel like it would be doable on a semi-normal table. Yeah, so they're calling out here, if you need to add or remove a player, prepare to play a one-shot adventure or make use of special rules to change the difficulty. Right. Okay, good. So they still have that system in place, because they talk about that quite a bit here, about removing heroes and adding new heroes, and it should be pretty fluid because each mission is going to give you, basically it's going to tell you, it's going to change what spawns based off of how many players you have. So it should scale like that. It's telling you don't use the characters from the core box as characters in this box, because you will meet those characters in your gameplay. And, you know, this is another, they don't really call this out here, but the term Awakenings indicates that this is a prequel in narrative structure to Age of Darkness. They call it an expansion, which they have, there's no other, you can't call it a prequel, obviously, or a precursor, but so, like, I think when I pick Drunagor back up, I'm going to start with this so that I can integrate all these new rules, and they tell you specifically, don't use the heroes in this box, because the narrative is written from their perspective, basically. And then they show you how, if you're going to add a new character, how to scale them up. So at chapter 6, you got to give them 2 times level 1 hero or role skill, 2 times class abilities, 2 times spoils, blah, blah, blah. And then there's a couple of rules here for decreasing the difficulty of the game, increasing trauma cube limits, minor change, it limits, yeah. Increase the number of the trauma cubes that you can sustain before you're defeated, basically. As a rule, each hero can hold only 1 trauma cube. When they receive a second, they're defeated. You could just change it to make them hold 2 trauma cubes. So they're basically telling you how the house rule the game. If you want to make it even more challenging, don't let your guys hold any trauma cubes, so that as soon as you get one, you're done. And then this is interesting. This is something I've been running into with Shadows of Brimstone, where I'm like teaching it to new players who don't know anything about the game, and they're picking these abilities, and they're, you know, like permanent, like they're starter abilities. And I often feel like it'd be nice, and sometimes I will house rule it this way, for there to be a mechanic where they can change those starter abilities and relearn them, even maybe if it's only once or twice. So let's see what they call it here, and maybe I could use that. Sometimes some skill or class ability seems spectacular and attract the attention of players. However, when they try them in practice, they end up realizing that these effects are not so useful or do not fit their playing style. This can lead to a perception of increased difficulty, since the player will not be able to get the best out of their hero. Whenever a party feels that this process may be happening, one way to correct this problem may be to run a relearning. That is, by re-choosing a reward received for completing an adventure, or even during the creation of the character. Out of the two suggestions presented in this topic, relearning is the simplest and perhaps the most stoic of the options, since it does not directly affect the balance of the system itself, but only personal perceptions or feelings. So they're basically saying, if you don't like one of the power-ups you chose during the level up process, or that you got as a reward, you can change it out. And then they go into the prologue, and they tell you how to set it up and everything, and then it goes straight into the narrative, and you know, that rolls basically all the way. And then you've got all the kind of secret stuff that you're not supposed to see. And then what do we have here? More. Oh, this is yeah. Oh, just new conditions, keywords, and terms. Boy, I was hoping that this would be all of them, because there's a lot of shit here. Yeah, so you finish up the campaign, and then they do give you a list of all the new conditions and stuff. In the new generation of campaigns for the Chronicles of Drunagor game system, the glossary of terms and keywords has been expanded and updated to save you from falling back on your Age of Darkness rulebook when searching for a game effect. Okay, all keywords. You will find clarification of all keywords in all printed materials up to this second generation. It's a little confusing. Does that mean that this includes all keywords, or just the ones that have been clarified? Let's see. Keywords and terms. Yeah, it's not clear. This is a ton of stuff. I'm assuming that this is everything, because there's some really basic stuff here, like retaliate. So this is nice. There's a giant glossary of all the keywords, and then you've got your game symbols and tokens. And yeah, this does include stuff from the core game, I believe. And shield and entropy tokens, focus tokens, those aren't included here. So very cool. So that's my recommendation, is if you get this stuff, and if you went all in, probably best to read the core book first, and then dive straight into the adventure book campaign, and then from there go to the core game campaign, then to the the Apocalypse campaign. Makes sense. So yeah, that's it for the adventure book, I think. It's very nice. It's wire bound. It's, you know, feels great. The art's beautiful as always. These guys have great art. It's never been a problem before. Okay, we've got some dungeon roll. Kind of side tokens. These only get used if you're playing with the large hero boards, which I do not do, so don't really have a use for that. We've got token storage. One thing this game has is a shit ton of tokens. Comes with a set of doors, assuming 9, probably more than that. Tiles, small, medium, and large. All sorts of cool stuff going on there. Bust this open. The rocky cliffs. Some kind of interior. Ooh, a windswept Viking boat. Another half-destroyed boat. All sorts of cool stuff. This is the boss card. Never fought a boss in Drunagor. Don't know how to, so can't really explain that all that much. All right, and then you got a pile of miniatures. Ooh, Nyx is in here. I forgot about that. Nyx being a character from Madara. That was a stretch goal for this game, basically. All right, so we got a set of minis here. Let me pop the ultimate zoom. Here's your, I don't know what the hell those, some kind of demon. Here's your spear-toting goblins, it looks like, maybe. Got your salty serpent woman. And you've got your, I don't know, evil priest, maybe like an undead lich, something like that. Hard to say. Take a look at these hero boards. Although, where the hell are the small hero boards? Oh, okay, these are the small hero boards. Duh. All right, the heroes are like the coolest thing in this whole game. Not just the characters themselves, but the mechanism for activating them and the way that they behave with the cubes and everything is really, really top tier stuff. And so let's maybe pop back out. There we go. All right. So here you've got Nyx. She's a succubus sword mage. They all start with the same number of hit points, 10 hit points, I think. Oh no, actually it does vary. I noticed that before. Okay. On your turn, dead end. Cost 2. Self, shield 2. Plus 2 hit, knockdown. Magic armor, self, entropy 2, shield 4. It's been a while since I played this game, so I'm kind of struggling to remember exactly what all these abilities do. Also, these are, she has 2 sides, do they? Usually the hero cards are double-sided because there's a different character, but it looks like, oh, okay, yeah, so there are 2 different versions of the 4 characters that are included here. So you've got Nyx, the sword mage, and then Nyx, the assassin. You can see her ability set is basically completely different, which is one of the really cool things about the game, is that all the characters feel different. You've got Vakrin, the human warlord. That is not a class that I remember hearing before. Or warrior, that's definitely one that I've heard. Let's see what he's got for warrior. Plus bounty. 1 damage if this attack delivered the killing blow. Draw a chest card. Oh, okay, cool. Battle focus. Arcing swing. He's got a cleave. Dash. Fearless. And then as the warlord, he's got some more buffy buff, not vampire slayer type stuff. Battle focus, intimidate. He's got a mechanic called claim. Interesting. Here's Katarina. Katharina. I believe she is from Tanaris. She looks like she's from Tanaris Adventures. It doesn't actually indicate that anywhere, but I recognize this character. So you've got a human shaman version and a human mage. Dark ritual. Whenever you evoke an idol's power, gather a fruit of life. Huh. All sorts of new stuff going on here. I have no goddamn idea what a fruit of life is. Black plague. +0 hit. So it's an attack. +0 hit. The next blip or attack made against this, or the next, what is that, ranged or magic or attack against this target gains +4 damage. Oh, that's cool. She's got a dispel. And then on the mage side, she's got battle focus, which is shared with one of these other characters. I saw it. Yeah, focus 1 and cleanse 1. Killer instinct. The next single attack you miss this turn scores a crit instead. Wow, that's cool. Reality revision. +3 hit, telekinesis 3. Cool. And you can see that one side, it seems like one side is kind of like the basic side. Like the warrior is one of the basic classes. The warlord is a more advanced class, and it has its own special kind of rule breakout. The same thing here. The assassin is a pre-existing class, whereas the sword mage, I think, is something new. And so you get the option of playing with kind of the more difficult version of the character if you choose. And then we've got Andreas, although he has special rules on both character sides. So what the fuck do I know? He's got the human cleric version, inspiring word, heal 2, shield 2, and make an attack of +0 hit. So we can heal, shield, and attack. Crossed parry, you spend 2, I think these are inspiration or insight. Use it on yourself, prevent all damage. Wow, so that could be really powerful. Oh, and he has the ability to command other characters, it sounds like, because right here it says hero backer. Attacks made by other heroes commanded by you gain a bonus of +3 to hit. And then you've got the necromancer side where he gets an undead Drunagor. Waltz of the Dead. Raise or command a Drunagor. I see. Okay. Enduring Strike. Self, shield 2, and cleanse, and then an attack. Death Strike. Shield 2. 2 damage. If this attack delivered the killing blow, self heal 2. Okay, great. So he's got the ability to he's got basically, I think it's literally called Death Strike in World of Warcraft, where you get health back for doing damage. So you get those 4 heroes. They all look super cool. The heroes are by far the coolest thing about this whole game system as far as I'm concerned. So I have no doubt that those are awesome. And then we got some more minis. All right, let's see here. Okay, this must be the new big bad. Very cool, kind of goat looking motherfucker. You got some kind of a pack of wretched evil gobos. You've got some big horned brutes with axes. You got some really weird looking frogmen, 4-armed frogmen. And some more slither folk. And then you've got your 4 heroes. So here is Nyx again, formerly of Madara. She's in a bunch of other games. Those guys seem to have a good relationship with a lot of other game developers out there. Crossovers galore. Here's your mage. The warlord, that's a cool That's pretty cool. I just like his helm. It's fucking dope looking. And then I always love a guy with a sword and shield. He's got a big tower shield too. That's cool. Very cool. Very cool. Moving on, you've got your large character cards. So they do give you the option. And when you use the large cards, this is where... That's where these come into play. I think. Yeah, because you get cards for the subclasses otherwise. So you decide on a dungeon roll, basically, when you're going in, and it gives you some extra abilities that you can use, which is another really cool system. Lets you mix it up even if you're using the same character. And then finally, we've got an insert. I have no idea what is supposed to go in here. I'm assuming it's stuff from one of these other boxes. And then you've got all your cards and whatnot, which I am not going to go through. So that is it for the Chronicles of Drunagor Awakenings unboxing. This looks great. It looks like more high quality Drunagor stuff, basically. I had really no complaints about the first game, especially in terms of production quality. And I don't really anticipate that I'm going to have any in this version. And so far it seems that that is being validated or kind of held up. Be interested to know what's going on with that. If it's just, are there really that many new tokens in the game? It doesn't look like there's that many tokens. I mean, there's this one sheet, which I'm not complaining about. Tokens are like the worst. All right. So that's it for Chronicles of Drunagor Age of Darkness Awakenings. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you're excited about Drunagor in the comments. I've seen some people commenting that it's just too much stuff, which I get. Probably shouldn't have backed it then. It wasn't unclear that it was going to be a big old pile of stuff. But let me know. Is it too much for you? Is it just enough? I mean, I'm basically stockpiling this stuff for when I'm an old man, and I'm retired. So I just have something to putter around with till I die. Probably before any of that happens. So I start losing some weight. So I don't mind having it around necessarily. I have been trimming my collection down considerably, getting rid of stuff that there's no way I'll ever play, but mostly keeping the dungeon crawlers. So for that glorious day in the future when all I have to do is play dungeon crawlers. But anyways, that's all I have for today. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will talk to you later.